another look here at the containers. Again, I've heard a lot of rumors about how the Port of Houston is closed and the containers are empty and no one's coming in.
Speak English or get out. That's pretty much what the new law says about truck drivers. You need to go ahead and speak English in order for you to drive a truck. But what do you think is going to happen now with these facilities, these shippers and receivers? Let's say there are going to be some drivers that are just going to go ahead and disregard that law 100%. But what if the shippers and receivers then start saying, hey, we're not going to break the law. It's the law. You need to speak English. Otherwise, you're not going to get loaded. So do you guys think that only DOT is going to go ahead and enforce this law, or are shippers and receivers also going to go ahead and put their foot down? And it might not stop there. You know, we've all been there in some truck stops where somebody doesn't speak English and they're holding up the line and it's just like a big mess just because they don't understand what's going on. Could it be that also truck stops are just going to go ahead and flat out refuse to help you out? I mean, wouldn't you be helping a criminal at that point? I'm just curious to see how far this will go. What are your thoughts?
But really quickly, what's going on with the truck drivers? You're making them all learn English now? They have to.
Well, yeah. So, by the way, the truck drivers, I get more feedback from truck drivers who are angry that there's other truck drivers who don't speak English. And so Barack Obama lowered the standard. So you got a slap on the wrist if you didn't speak English, where before they would immobilize your vehicle. Your semi would get parked if you couldn't speak English. We're going to go back to the pre-Obama era where if you can't speak English, by the way, this is dangerous.
The reason's because they can't read the road signs, right?
Well, there's road signs, or if you get stopped by law enforcement, you can't communicate. You can't, So we're going back to the old standard, and again, it's going to make our road safer.
All right,
the president signed an executive order yesterday for that.
Let's find out what the audience wants to say.
Donald Trump just said that you have to speak English to drive a truck. Hello, Mom. How are you today? Now, Mom, I just want to let you know that I cannot drive a truck anymore. Donald Trump just passed a new law that if you do not speak English, or if you have a really beautiful accent like me, that means you have to leave the trucking industry. Okay, Mama, I'm coming. Yeah, what's up, everybody? So I have something to tell you, okay? If you're a truck driver, I have a bad news for you. Because Donald Trump just enforced executive some sort of order that I cannot even pronounce. If you do not speak or read and write the English, that means you have to leave the trucking industry. That means you cannot be a truck driver anymore. This is not the first time they've done that. Back in 2016, they had a same rule. You know why? Because there's a lot of accidents happening in America. Right now, the truck drivers, they're crashing into bushes, they're crashing into other cars, they're crashing into all the pretty Latino women, they're crashing into everybody. If they allow the trucks around the White House, they will crash into the White House also. So that's why the Donald Trump trying to do right now, that if you want to drive a truck, you got to know how to read and write, okay? You got to know how to speak English. So you can see those big orange or yellow signs, you don't make no mistakes, okay? So I guess try to learn, because I told you so many times I dropped the links, so many times I try to help you, but it looks like you guys are too busy watching the TikTok video. Now go drive a Uber or something. Oh, I forgot, the same rule applies to the Uber also. So maybe get into construction, I guess.
Guys, things are a lot worse than I actually thought it was. I just got finished looking at about 6 TikToks, and not just TikTok videos, but videos on other social media platforms about a lot of the American truck drivers, as far as like the semi-truck drivers who do the over-road driving, transporting goods from the ports to our local stores. A lot of the truck drivers are really hurt right now. I watched at least 3 videos where the truck drivers are saying, just in this short amount of time with the tariffs going on, that they have to actually sell their entire truck. A lot of those people pay at least $255,000 for the semi. So for those of you who don't know what those trucks cost, they cost around 200 and something thousand. One guy said the best offer that he got on the semi truck was $140,000, and the semi truck is actually a 2020. A 2020. That's just shy of 5 years old. So it's real out here when the truck drivers start speaking out about what's going on with them. They're experiencing a huge shortage where it comes to them being contractors, being contracted out to ship stuff for this company and ship stuff for that company. A lot of those guys that's even saying that selling their trucks, they're applying for local jobs where they can drive for a company. And they said a lot of those companies that ships products are actually laying their employees off. Or some of them are even cutting their employees' hours. So it's definitely real. Just seeing the videos like that just let me know just how serious things are, because these are people making videos that lives are really 100% being impacted by the tariffs. We would have never thought in a million years that putting tariffs on China and putting tariffs on these other countries would affect the United States so fast. I would have never thought that the impact would be so fast. The store shelves, a lot of the store shelves really are running empty right now. A lot of people are still using their overstocked products that they ordered from these companies, meaning that shipments are still coming in because they were ordered before the tariffs were implemented. And so they have to honor what's been implemented, basically like a contract type deal. So things are more serious than I thought it was, man. And like, if this is like only the second day of May 2025, I mean, I hate to see what the second and third week of May is going to look like. And we are just in the second day of May, and we're already seeing a humongous catastrophic breakdown of people already talking about losing their jobs when it comes to trucking and transporting food from one state to the next state. The ports are just really, it's bad. What's going on at the ports right now, it's bad. And you know what's really worse? A lot of those jobs are actually union jobs, and the union can't really do anything about that. They can't really override the president of the United States. So,
man, it's a good day to be a trucker. So from here on out, all truck drivers in the United States have to read and write and speak English. Man, I smell some raises coming on for every truck driver in America. The fact that they allow people to be truck drivers that can't read or write English is crazy, because all our road signs are in English. I can't tell you how many times I come across other truck drivers that can't speak English. There's no communication between us. It's honestly frustrating. It's awful. Back up where I'm from in Detroit, we get a lot of people from like the Middle East and Europe that come there. They don't speak any English. They disregard a lot of the rules. It's just gotten out of hand, and I'm glad that President Trump stepped in to fix this for us. Thanks, Trump.
This next video right here, this truck driver has been a driver for at least over a decade. He said since like 19 something. So check this out. It's going to blow your mind here.
90% of the truck drivers voted for Trump. Now they go to the ports and the piers and look for a load to carry, and they find out that half the ships are empty and the other half are being diverted by China to other places. The only thing you'll be hauling is Trump out of the White House back to Mar-a-Lago.
Hey, this is Coach Tony. I'm out here talking with some of the truckers about President Trump's executive order on English proficiency. Any thoughts on that, brother?
Yes. My name's Ernest Brown. I'm a trucker. I've been in business since 1995, at the TL since 1978. And I just want the truckers to know that this bag I got here, it's trash. Some of these executive orders, that's all it is. You guys go to work, do your job, be professional. You gotta take care of it.
All right. So, and that's the truth, guys. If you guys really think about the new policy that he just came out, if you haven't heard, basically Trump is requiring you to be very, very proficient in English to be a truck driver, guys. And which it kind of makes sense when it comes down to the whole, legal. When it comes down to protection of the citizens, guys, you want the trucker to be able to read road signs. You want the trucker to be able to communicate with different companies. But as a whole, I don't know what the guidelines are for this, guys. What do you think in the comment section below? Because if he's talking about, any kind of people who come within the country can't be a truck driver, I know there's some kind of stipulation behind it. But at the end of the day, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. But these videos are insane, and they're blowing my mind here. But I don't know where the country is going to head within the next few weeks, even the next few months.
So everybody's freaking out because our American ports are beginning to run a little dry. But what nobody's telling you is the reason why they're looking dry. Because they used to be flooded with Chinese exports. And if our ports here in America are looking dry, could you imagine how the ports in China are looking? Look up the images of all of the ships and all of the cargo containers that are in Shanghai's port alone. You don't have to look at all China. Look at Shanghai ports. Thousands amongst thousands of ships that are disabled because they have nowhere to ship containers to. Tens of thousands of cargo containers that are filled with products that now the Chinese are having to take those items out of the containers to try to salvage some of those goods if possible. But guess what? The United States is still selling our exports. Because unlike China, 18 countries have already come to agreements with the United States on this tariff policy. And we are still working on figuring out all the little details with all of these other countries that are coming in. But how many people, other than maybe South Africa, maybe, have agreed to China's tariffs and to officially trading with China? You may get a few here and there, if that. But everybody that China has gone to has said, we're sorry, we cannot consume as much as America consumes. But on the contrary, other nations are telling us we can make what China makes. So we're still winning.
Well, breaking news. So not only are the last cargo ships arriving to the United States this week that will be carrying cargo that will not be tariffed, because after this, every cargo ship that arrives in the United States will be hit with 145% tariff. Truck drivers across the United States are quitting in mass. Yes, the truck drivers that are legal citizenships who also have legal driver's licenses are quitting in mass and selling their trucks. So not only are we going to be facing a crisis of items coming into the United States, we're also going to be facing a crisis of items being able to be delivered to businesses.
Hey, without truck drivers, I don't know how we're going to get freight all over the place. How are we going to get food? How are we going to get anything around the country, guys? So I don't know. This is just crazy. It's blowing my mind. But hey, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. I will see you. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you want to stay in the loop, because I'm uploading this every single day. I'm following this like a laser focus. I'm in here.
If you don't speak English, nobody wants you driving a truck. That is the sentiment from a lot of truck drivers, and that's what the law says. It's not a new law. It's a law from the 1930s. It's just being enforced right now. But I'm Latino, I'm a firstborn American. This is what I think about that. And look, first of all, I gotta say that I do feel bad for all the people that invested so much, are not stealing from anybody. They're just going out there and working and providing for their family. I'm not happy that this is happening to them or anything like that. On the other hand, the law is the law, right? I mean, before you got into this, you knew that you couldn't be doing, you couldn't be operating that way. You understood that you needed to speak English in order, it was part of the law. In order to operate and to do this job, you needed to do that. And I don't want to hear that, oh, I've been doing this job for 20 years, I don't speak English, and it's not a problem for me. It is a problem. You just don't care about it. But it is a problem from other people around. I have seen it firsthand many times. When I see somebody that doesn't speak English, I have no problem going and helping that person out. I'm not an asshole. I'm going to help you out. But you are making a problem for everyone else around you, all right? Because you can't understand the situation. You can't communicate properly. And look, man, it is what it is. If I go to Germany, I have to learn German, dude. And if you just got here and you're learning the language, it's totally fine. You know, we get it. It's totally okay. And look, I was born here and I still have an accent because I'm from Miami. It doesn't matter if you have an accent. An accent. It doesn't matter if you can't speak absolutely perfectly. Let's say, for example, like, hey, this is my load over here, and you say, hey, this is my load over here. Everybody gets it. It's totally fine. That's not what we're saying. We're talking about the people that just have no idea, the people that have been living here for 5, 10, 20 years, and you still don't speak the language. No, I'm sorry, but there's a word in Spanish for that, and that is descarado. And that's pretty much, you're shameless. You just don't care. You didn't put the effort to learn a new language. And for those people, I do not feel sorry for, man. It's kind of like those people that drive drunk. Like, they say, oh, no, it's fine, I drive just fine. Dude, you know you're not supposed to do that. You know you can get in trouble, and you know that you might affect other people. You might do it perfectly, but you might affect other people, right? And then they get caught, and then they want to play victim when they get caught. And they're like, dude, I told you for years that you couldn't be doing this, and you did it anyways. And now look what happened. Now you can't play the victim now. Again, I don't want anything bad to happen to these people. I wish that they can go ahead and then learn, so that they can go ahead and keep working, because they're not stealing from anybody. They're just working. I totally get it. But you knew the rules. You did it anyways. You didn't put the effort in it, and then this is what you get, man. And that's what I think about it. I mean, I'm totally for it. I've seen how it negatively affects everyone around you, and that's just the language part. let's not even talk about the culture part, which is a huge part of this issue as well, that is not being talked about enough, in my opinion.
Well, it's time to give my opinion, even though nobody asked for it. As you guys know, I am, or if you don't know, I am originally from El Salvador. I was born there. I was brought to the United States. Yep, just like those kids that are being brought up here now, that's the same way I was brought up here when I was 3 years old. My parents worked for a long time. They were able to get their documentation. They became residents, then citizens. Then, not too long ago, I became a citizen. And why am I talking about this in a trucking channel? Because my dad was a truck driver. I actually had the privilege of teaching my dad how to drive a truck, because I've been driving for 25 years. I think he drove for about 15. Anyways, I taught him how to drive. The man knew how to drive. Knew how to drive a semi. He knew how to read the signs, but he didn't know how to speak the language correctly. He had a lot of times where he was put in situations where he would get nervous and he couldn't understand anything he's saying. A lot like, the president's wife, that you can't really understand what she's saying, but if you really pay attention, you can understand what she's saying. So kind of like that. I'll put it in those terms. So what I see that's going on right now, it's really just an agenda that's being pushed to put people against each other. Because this whole notion of having to read and write and all that stuff, that law has been a law for a very long time. And right now that, things are getting more put in our face, social media, stuff like that, it's becoming easier to push an agenda to scare people. Now, I think this whole thing is just my personal opinion, that this whole thing, that law that it was just signed by our president, it's just smoking guns, or smoke and mirrors, I guess, not smoking guns. It's just a show, just so people can, still rally behind him and follow everything that he does and say. Now, let's get to, do I believe that you should be able to read, at least read in English, or the language where you live? And yes, I agree. You should be able to read everything, because there are, their stop signs are pretty much universal. I know in Latin America, pretty much just like here, they look about the same. A lot of the signage is about the same. So it's not about the signage. It is, but it's about the ones that are warning, the ones that they have over the highway or at construction sites that are warning there's a potential hazard ahead of us. Those are the ones that we need to know to read. And that's why I agree that you should be able to read those things. As far as speaking the language, well, why? If there are translation apps, why not be allowed to use the translation apps to speak it, or to be able to, articulate whatever you need to a police officer or a DOT officer? So that part right there, meh, because I know, because I've experienced it, through my dad. So he knew how to read everything. Man never got into an accident. He always did what he was supposed to do. Drove trucks safely in Houston through traffic day in and day out for 15 years. Because about 13 years. 2 of those years he did OTR, but the other 13 was local in Houston, driving a 389 Peterbilt with 18-speed spread axle reefer trailer, which is crazy. I don't know why that's the kind of trucks that company bought, but that's what they delivered in. So, anywho, it's, to me, just smoke and mirrors. Is just to pin everybody against each other, and just the right and the left and all this other bullcorn that's going on in this country, which I don't believe in either one. I'm more, I guess if we talk about voting, more of an independent, but as far as like left and right, I could care less. Now, a lot of you are excited and so happy that things are just about to change, that the world is about to change here in the United States, that there's going to be all this mass, pulling over all these trucks, and everybody's going to be getting pulled out of these trucks. They're going to be shutting down all these trucks. What do you think's going to happen when that many trucks start getting pulled over and then freight stops getting to where it's supposed to get to? Do you think it's really about the people that are getting caught? No, the people in power that all this stuff is going for, Walmart, FedEx, whoever it is, Amazon, once their products stop getting moved, who are they going to give a call to? You already know who they're going to call. And they're going to continue, they're going to change the law or just close their eyes, because that's what's been going on for years, right? Just close their eyes and continue on business as usual, as it is right now. So, yeah. Do some things need to change in the trucking industry? Yes, but I don't think it's the drivers. I think it's the corporations that run the trucking industry. Just my little humble opinion that you guys didn't ask for. Letting you know. Some of you are going to get upset. I really could care less. Some of you are going to agree. Appreciate that for being open-minded. And some of you might just, I don't know. Be good, be safe, and as always, fam, God bless and a peace.
All that has been spoken here, majority of it has been true. While some of you might think it's very much discriminating or incriminating towards drivers, it is actually something universal. Like when you go to a certain country, you have to learn the language. Although it doesn't really matter if you know how to read. That's the important thing, because like, think of it, when you see a sign and you know how to interpret the sign, that's all that matters, right? Like, of course, you're going to drive safely because you can read those signs. But also, speaking comes in when, especially if you find yourself in problems like with the authority, or maybe you want to communicate with other drivers along the road, or maybe you're doing these logistic things. So speaking will really come in handy, and that's something also you need to have. It's a skill you need to have. So it's upon these companies that actually hire these truck drivers to maybe offer training, or maybe revise their recruitment process, maybe trying to consider drivers who can speak English or write English, or how they can educate them to have these two skills, which are very vital, especially in any country, not only in the United States of America. Anyways, guys, it might also be that this topic is just, to scare people, as these other speakers have said, which is very much true. But I don't think like it should scare drivers so much. It's just a matter of training. Maybe take like 6 months or 3 months, 6 months, training them how US roads operate. That would come in handy. Anyways, what do you guys think in the comment section down there below? Let me know your thoughts.